Yo, what's going on, guys? Egal Talks Football. We're back again with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about Moussa Diaby to Arsenal. We're going to talk about Declan Rice not being for sale in the January window. In addition to that, we're linked to a player that's from Roma, Nicolo Zaniolo, if I'm not pronouncing his name right. Nicolo Zaniolo or Zanoli, I forget. But we're going to be getting into it, plus a couple more things that we need to discuss today. Just before that big game versus Manchester United in what is considered the social media derby. But for now, let's get this show started. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get this show started. And as you guys come in, let me know where you're watching from. Hit that. And also make sure you let me know in the comment section where you're watching from if you're watching on the playback. Let's get started. Yes, people. What's going on? It's Egal Talks Football, and we're back again with another video. And today's video is going to be a good one. I'm supposed to have my guy Mo with me at some point throughout the stream. He'll jump in to have his say on everything that's going on around Arsenal. But first things first, we need to begin from today's transfer stuff. If you don't know, today's transfer stories have been revolving heavily around Mohamed Elneny being injured, Cedric, in addition to a lot of stuff about Arsenal's other transfer target after missing out on Mykhaylo Mudryk, which is none other than the man himself, who's in the title of this thumbnail and the video. Now, the man himself, Moussa Diaby. Now, personally, I have been interested in potentially signing Moussa Diaby since the summer when we were first linked to him around Eid at the beginning of the summer transfer window. So we'll have to wait and see if we seriously go back in for him. But for now, there are several players that we could potentially go for in this upcoming window, and some of them being Rafael, Leao, Rafinha, Zaha, Trossard, Matinho, the gentleman who plays for Napoli. There's just so many names that we can go for. But at this moment in time, it does seem like Arsenal are looking at none other than the man himself from Leverkusen, the Frenchman, the 23-year-old starlet that currently plays in Germany, the man himself, Moussa Diaby. Now, I want to ask you guys, what do you guys know about Moussa Diaby in the comment section? Let me know what you guys think about Moussa Diaby in the comment section. Newcastle are also going for him. Yes, Football Matters FC. Newcastle are also going for Moussa Diaby. This transfer window, when is the transfer window going to end? The transfer window ends February 1st. Big up to everyone watching from all across the world. I can see some of you guys telling me you're watching from Bangladesh. Hope you're well. I'm doing well. Richard Garlic is a prick, fam. Bro, I did a video on him. That guy's a prick. Big up to the people watching from Bangladesh. Wow. Reaching all over the world. Diaby's going to Newcastle. What? He's not going to Newcastle. The deal, at this moment in time, Newcastle make a fresh inquiry. They make an inquiry. They don't make a bid. They're making an inquiry. That's normal. That's normal. Nothing to worry about yet. They're just making an inquiry. Once they jump in and they actually bid, that's when we start to get a little bit more concerned, right? But first things first, let's get straight into it. The man himself, Ben Jacobs, giving us the first update on this story today. We're going to talk about Moussa Diaby. People in the comment section, hope you're well. You bringing people on, bro? Brandon, if you want to jump on, I'll send you the link right now. Jump on. I'll send you the link on Twitter right now. Let me message you. Big up, Brendan. You know what? I don't really send out the links to the public for these streams because I try to have it a little bit more controlled. But Brendan, as long as you're not jumping in, yelling and screaming, we're good. Right? But yeah, big up everyone in the chat. Let's get this show started. Properly. Right? Hope everyone's doing well. My guy M in the chat. I see you, John. I see you. Honestly, Leverkusen might go for Mudryk's price. Think they want 100 million is a ridiculous amount of money, let's be honest, for any player in this world. But yeah, let's go. So Arsenal thought to inquire about Moussa Diaby, a target who revealed over the summer Bayer Leverkusen don't want to sell mid-season, what means a high fee is being quoted. as Barcelona's Rafinha and Mykhaylo Mudryk's transfer to Chelsea is being used as a yardstick for this potential signing of Moussa Diaby. Now, here's what else Ben Jacobs had to say. He said that doesn't mean either Leverkusen or Barcelona genuine valuations for their players that high, but it's a way for pricing each other out for now. Diaby doesn't have a release clause and is quoted high, like West Ham did for Declan Rice last summer. Helps fend off suitors. At this moment in time, they're just trying to fend off suitors. They're not really trying to get him. They're not really trying to get him an immediate move. It seems like everything that we're hearing about this situation at this moment in time is Arsenal have inquired, and we just have to wait and see how far it goes. Bro, I'm not worried. We might not sign anyone. Diaby is needed. What you saying, bro? How you feeling?
I've got to admit, mate, I just think it's another overhyped, overpriced player. I really do. I mean, don't get me wrong. We need players. We do. We need players. I just think it would be silly of Arsenal to go and spend that sort of money on a player right now.
But we need a signing. Wouldn't you say we need somebody?
We need somebody, but we also need to be smart, you know. And one thing that we can say about Arsenal since Mikel Arteta has taken over is we have been smart in the transfer window. You know, yeah. So it sounds kind of contradicting, really. But if it come up and it was a choice between signing this guy or signing nobody, I'd rather we sign nobody. And it does sound contradicting because I look at it in a similar vein to the Mudryk deal, right? I think if we all look at the Mudryk deal now, I think we would have been definitely majorly overpaying for a player, right?
Okay.
And I see the same thing with this Diaby, majorly overpaying for a player who, I mean, don't get me wrong, he looks decent in the Bundesliga, but the Bundesliga is not the Premier League. Do you know what I mean?
So let me ask you this. Simply, Arsenal have a chance to sign Moussa Diaby. It's a yes or no question. Everyone in the chat, yes or no to Moussa Diaby. You're saying no.
I'm saying no.
Why are you saying no? Because it's the Bundesliga?
Yes and no. I mean, again, I'll go back to the price tag as well, being one of the main things. I mean, if it was like we're going to sign Moussa Diaby for 30-40 million pound, then I would say, okay, fair enough. But the fact that they're quoting, what, 80 million pound?
That's obviously with 20 million in add-ons. They would probably be close to 60 million.
Yeah. I look at it, mate, and I just think there's other alternatives out there that I think would do a better job. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying this kid is not talented. I'm not saying that, you know, he couldn't be a potential future target. I just think for what we need right now, and a lot of people don't like hearing this, but, you know, Leandro Trossard, for an example, would be cheaper. He's already proven in the Premier League. He doesn't need time to settle into the league. You know, he could do a job for us right now. And I know that's not what Arsenal fans want to necessarily hear because it's more looking at things in the short term. But if we're being realistic with things, we're in a Premier League title race right now. We need somebody who can come in and do a job right now, not somebody who might take a little bit of time to settle into the league, who we're going to blow most of our budget on. Not only that, right? If we go and spend this sort of money on a player, and I believe it would have been the same, you know, if we'd have got Mudryk over the line, I don't see us buying any other players because I think we're going to blow a massive amount of our budget on one player.
Just to be 100% fair, the price that we're hearing is not the price that I'm seeing. The price that I'm seeing on the thumbnail of the video is 88 million pounds, but the actual price is 57 million. That's what we're hearing. So what do we believe at this point? If the price is around 60 million, you're not taking him?
Again, I don't know. I'm not too sure, and this is the thing, right? The price that we're hearing is probably the price that Leverkusen have given us, because let's be honest, Edu, right, messed that Mudryk deal up completely.
I disagree. I disagree completely. If you heard, if we're gonna go back on the Mudryk deal, we'll do that right now. How about that? Let's actually go through it. Fabrizio Romano made it clear that we bid 40 million, we bid 50 million, and then we bid 70. Now you're telling me we went from where we originally were with the Mudryk deal. Where was it? 40 something plus add-ons, which was around 55 million, to all the way to what we ended up getting. I personally think there's a reason why we did that. We specifically were working our way up to our final price, and when we got to our final price, it was 95 million euros. There you go.
Total package, yeah.
Total package. So Chelsea came in, gave the player triple what we offered him in wages, gave the team an extra 20 million, an extra 20 million in bonuses and 80 million up front. So they bettered our offer, and they gave the player better wages. At that moment in time, it seemed like they were holding us at ransom. They were trying to hold us at ransom, and Arsenal will never be held at ransom by anybody. Edu made the right decision. The board made the right decision. The club made the right decision, walking away from the deal, because we always said we weren't going to enter a bidding war. Hence, Shakhtar wanted a bidding war. This now tells people, if the player wants to join us and we want the player, it's not just give us the player, but of course, don't mess about. Because
I don't disagree with your analogy there at all. I don't disagree at all. I also think that we made the right decision in pulling out of that deal in the end. I think you reach a point where you have a valuation for that player. If it goes beyond that, then you kind of have to walk away. But what I mean by Edu messing up that deal, right, is we've made it very clear to the world now that we have 95 million euros that we can shed out, like it as a total package, whether that be, an initial 50 million up front and plus add-ons in the later date. We made it very clear now to everyone that we have 95 million euros to spend. So of course, whenever we go in for a player now, clubs are going to value them at much more than what they're worth, because they're going to say, well, you had 95 million euros to shed out on Mudryk. So, if Mudryk's valued at that, then we're going to value our player around that. And that's where I think we've messed up. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a case of like this Moussa Diaby, for example, in a lot of people's opinions, probably is only worth about 40, 50 million, pounds total.
To be fair to Moussa Diaby, he's more established as a player than Mudryk is.
Yeah,
a lot of people had questions over Mudryk's being established. Personally, I didn't have those issues, but one thing I do understand is this is a guy who's established in the German league as one of their best dribblers, one of their best chance creators, one of the best at what he does. And he's not the top goal scorer in the league. He's nowhere near that. But he's Leverkusen's best player. And let's be honest, some of Leverkusen's best players in the past, let's look at them. In Havertz and in Leon Bailey, they're not performing as well. So I get the skepticism over the Bundesliga and the skepticism over this deal. But in comparison to the Mudryk deal, we made the right decision, my friend. I genuinely do believe this is not one where people should be saying Edu out over the Mudryk deal. I personally think the Edu out brigade need to chill for a second. I used to be part of it, but I fully am on board what we're doing. And there was an article that was done by a buddy of mine, what's his name, Kia. If you've seen the article that he did was on point about it. And I even did a video on this on my TikTok. If you've seen it, I'll play it for you guys right now. Okay, this is the last video I'm doing on this topic. Arsenal have a strict policy and they will not be held to ransom by any club for any player. At this moment in time, they have learned from their mistakes in the past, hence why we haven't made any bad signings since Pepe. Let me give you an example. Bendia, ring a bell? James Maddison, we ended up getting Odegaard. You tell me who is in a better situation. Martinez, we ended up getting Zinchenko. I think we're okay. Emerson Royale, you remember this one? We got Tomiyasu. Who got the better player? Let me know. Vlahovic, we see what he's doing over at Juve. We got Gabriel Jesus. I'm okay with that one. I don't know about you guys. And you might get the point by now. You get me? The question is who's going to be the alternative? Because in all those other situations, we had an alternative plan. At this point, we might not know who the alternative is going to be, but in the long run, who's to say it doesn't end up being something better for us in the long run? He's a Chelsea player now. Don't get too attached to Arsenal transfer targets because there's always an alternative and it could be even better. Boom. And with that being said, I felt like that was the best way to now segue back to this deal, back to Moussa Diaby. We have 122 people in the chat. Make sure you do hit that like button, smash that like button. Diaby looks more like a panic buy. How? When we were interested in him in the summer. Also, Diaby would be somebody who can play in both positions, and his stats are out of this world. He's a good serviceable backup for good serviceable backup for Saka, and we need that depth in that position. He might cost a lot, but he's one of the best players in the Bundesliga at what he does, and he'd offer a lot to us. And we already know the Bundesliga, we're worried about the fact that he might not hit the ground running, but the fact is he's coming into an Arsenal team where everybody who's joined this team under Mikel Arteta as of late has been seamless transition. So it's a healthy environment to join, healthy environment to come into and become a better player. So I'm very optimistic that if we do sign him, he'll be worth every penny. But if we overpay and we pay like 80 to anywhere near what we paid for Pepe, people are going to say Pepe 2.0. I can already imagine. Where I draw the line with the Diaby deal is if they try to tell us 100 million euros, beat it. If they try to tell us 90 million euros, beat it. If they tell us here's a reasonable package, 60 million, you can have him, give us add-ons that adds up to like 20 million, then and it can go up to 80 million, that's a different story. You know what I mean? If it's add-ons, that's a different story. If they're asking for upfront cash, we can go and get more players in the Premier League already than him.
This is the thing, though. You know, we're looking at his numbers now on the screen. Can he replicate that in the Premier League? And how quickly can he replicate that in the Premier League as well? I mean, like, again, I'll go back to the comparison of Leandro Trossard. Leandro Trossard's numbers are not spectacular, but they're good enough to be able to help us out in what we need to do right now. Whereas as this guy, for example, his numbers look a lot better, but it's in a completely different league. Can he replicate them sort of numbers in the Premier League? That's the big question mark that I have over it. Not only that, right? Let me ask you this. So we're talking about this guy, blah blah blah. You know, like I said earlier, we made it very clear to the world that we got 95 million euros to kind of spend, and clubs will try and take advantage of that. No doubt, Leverkusen will do the same thing, right? So the biggest way of getting out of this sort of situation for me would be to look at a player like a Trossard again. You know, I don't want to keep going back to Trossard, but like a Trossard who's unhappy at his club, who the manager of the football club doesn't want him there anymore. He's clearly planning long term without him. So it's an easier deal to get done for less money than what it is for this Moussa Diaby guy, you know, who's clearly an up-and-coming talent. He's clearly someone that we've, you know, looked at before. But is that somebody that we need right now? I don't think it is. I think we need depth.
Let me ask you a question. And I want a straight-up answer on this. If I told you right now, Fulham's Matheus Pereira is one of the best midfielders outside of the top six, would you believe me?
Matheus Pereira?
Yeah, the same guy who was at Manchester United.
No, I probably wouldn't.
Because when you're a player like Leandro Trossard and you're playing at a smaller club like Brighton and you make that step up, who's to say he's going to have anywhere near the performances he has there? Who's to say this won't be a short-term deal? Who's to say he doesn't turn into our Shaqiri?
You're right. You are right. But what I would point to is there's more chance of him making an impact, for example, than this Moussa Diaby guy, purely and simply because he's already established in the Premier League. He already knows the league.
Okay, that's ridiculous because in the sense you're basically saying expensive signings from the
Mhm.
Bundesliga won't hit the ground running. One of our best signings as of late was Aubameyang, who came from the Bundesliga.
Yeah, uh, and I agree with that. But Aubameyang was an absolute star in the Bundesliga. Do you know what I mean? This guy, I wouldn't say he's a star in the Bundesliga, and I was actually quite shocked that there wasn't more teams looking at Aubameyang.
What
Right?
about Akanji at Manchester City? He came from
Hmm.
the Bundesliga.
Yeah, but when you look at in terms of attacking players, right? Aubameyang is kind of a um, needle in a haystack when you look at in terms of attacking players in recent years that have come from the Bundesliga in terms of how well they've done in the Premier League. Look at Timo Werner, look at Kai Havertz, look at Leon Bailey. You know, it's kind of like, you know, Aubameyang was an exception to the rule. Do you know what I mean? You look at the majority of players that come in from the Bundesliga, and the majority of them struggle to transition, and that's what I would be looking at if I was Arsenal personally.
Do you think it's a situation where we're only really talking about the Chelsea players that have done bad and like Jadon Sancho? When you think about Company came from the Bundesliga, Kevin De Bruyne came from the Bundesliga. If I'm not mistaken, Son came from the Bundesliga. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Roberto Firmino come from the Bundesliga? Like we keep talking about these players. Podolski came from the Bundesliga. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're only talking about, if we sign Jude Bellingham tomorrow, would you say he came from the Bundesliga?
Jude Bellingham, again, the difference with Jude Bellingham is he's already played in England.
One
Yes, it's
second.
not the hang on. Yes, it's not the Premier League, right? But he's an English player. He's an English born and bred player, right? And he's already played in England before. He had Premier League clubs interested in him in Birmingham. So, you know, it's a different kind of Premier League, but he has still played in England. Same with Kevin De Bruyne, right? Although his time at Chelsea was an absolute shambles, he's already established within the culture, if that makes sense. Same with Mo Salah. That's why Mo Salah's transition into Liverpool was seamless.
Let me show you what I mean. These are the Bundesliga players who have come to the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about all the flops that have come, but on this list, you're going to see a lot of players who are of high level quality that people don't really think about when they say Bundesliga flops. It's only really the more recent Bundesliga flops that we speak about. We speak about Jadon Sancho. Let's be honest, he went
Okay,
into
yeah, but this is the thing, right? Look at this list, yeah? Look at this list.
for every flop, I can give you a person who hit. So you
Okay.
have a flop in what do you call it? Timo Werner. You have two people who hit in Aubameyang. You have a flop in Kai Havertz. You have a flop in Jadon Sancho. A hit in Leroy Sané. You have a hit in Company. Hit in Michael Ballack. Flop in thing. Then you have a flop here in Heller, who's now absolutely killing it in his next two clubs. Son, who's not a flop. Haaland, who's not a flop. Dzeko, who's not a flop. This guy is good, but he just gets injured a lot. You got Ilkay Gundogan, Roberto Firmino. Let's not even count some of these other guys who played a long time ago. Henrik Mkhitaryan was a flop. You can't call Owen Hargreaves a flop, for God's sakes. The guy was a baller. Schweinsteiger was a flop. Berbatov was a massive hit at Tottenham and at Manchester United. Right? You got Leon Bailey, who's a flop. Per Mertesacker was a baller for us. He didn't flop. He never flopped for us. You have what do you call it? Jude Bellingham. If he comes to the Premier League, you're going to call him a flop. Ibrahim Konate, there's no way he's being called a flop. Leroy Sané flopped at Arsenal, but he went to thing and he's absolutely killing it. And Christopher Nkunku is going to be coming now. So with that being said, I'm looking at this Bundesliga thing and I'm just saying it's not that the Bundesliga has players who flop. It's the clubs who sign them don't know what they're doing. Hence, what makes them flop. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I don't disagree again, but let's forget about defensive. Let's talk about attacking, because this Moussa Diaby guy, he's a winger, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I right in that? So if you bring that list back up, right? If you bring that list back up, let's go through all the players that have played in attacking positions. I mean, i.e., across the front three. that have come into the Premier League and done well. Leroy Sané, yes. Leroy Sané.
Roberto Firmino.
Son, yeah. Roberto Firmino, yeah. But you got like Christian Pulisic, you got Kai Havertz, you got,
but that all has one thing in common: Chelsea. Every player who goes to Chelsea is bad. That's one thing in common. Every player who goes to Chelsea is bad. You're on mute, bro. I think you got something going on. People, let me know if I'm tripping. Let me know if is it the Bundesliga is the problem, or is it Chelsea, or is it Manchester United with Jadon Sancho? Is it the Bundesliga players that are the problem and the transition that it takes from the Premier League to the Bundesliga, or is it even Mane came from there? Anyways, we got Mohamed. Listen, right now we're talking about the transition from the Bundesliga to the Premier League and how a lot of Bundesliga players recently have flopped. And I'm just trying to make the case that that's not necessarily the case. It's more just the Chelsea players and Sancho.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen players in the Bundesliga come to the Premier League and do well. We've seen Aubameyang do really, really well. We've seen other players do really, really well. But for me, if a defender does well in the Bundesliga, that's a big sign for me, because that league is very, very attacking. So it bodes well for defenders that shine there. Attackers, not so much. It's a bit of a hit and miss. So I'm not really sure how to feel about this one.
Okay. People in the chat, let me know what you guys are thinking. Anyways, let's go back to Moussa Diaby quickly. What are you thinking about Moussa Diaby, man? Mohamed, are you for it? Are you against it? If you had the choice of signing nobody or signing Moussa Diaby, what would you do?
I would sign nobody, to be honest. I think this project now is at a stage where we can only really go for the top players. I really wanted Mudryk. That didn't happen. But now, I've set my sights on Kvaratskhelia from Napoli or Rafael Leao from AC Milan. These are the kind of players that we should be targeting. And I don't believe in signing players of a lesser quality or any plan Bs.
So we're saying Rafael Leao or the gentleman at Napoli. You're saying the quality level of Moussa Diaby is what? It's not too different from what we already have, or?
No, I think he's a good player. I'm not saying he's a player of low quality, but what I'm saying is, for the money that's being asked of him, I don't think he's worth that kind of money. Unfortunately, now you can see what has happened to the transfer market. Players will be overpriced, and I don't think anybody will be able to get Diaby for anything less than 80 million. And I don't believe he's an 80 million player.
Okay.
Can I just throw a scenario in there as well, Agal, right? There's one player that we just spoke about on that list, right? Okay. If we're going to throw 80 million pounds at this Diaby, why not go and try and get Leroy Sané from Bayern Munich?
The thing is, you can try to get anyone you want, but realistically, it's if the club doesn't want to sell the player. We've already done inquiries in the summer. They made it clear they don't want to sell Leroy Sané. We made inquiries near the end of the summer. They made it clear they didn't want to sell him. I just want to get back to what he said about Rafael Leao and the other gentleman. What makes these guys such big difference makers in comparison to Moussa Diaby for you? Is it the fact that they've already been proven in the top leagues or in the Serie A? What is it? Is it the fact that it's a Serie A in comparison to the Bundesliga? Because if I'm not mistaken, people have questions about any player from any league coming over.
That's true. But for me, the Italian league and the Spanish league are a step below the Premier League, but they're clearly superior to the Bundesliga. So I think if you do well in Italy, that's a good sign. I think it's a good league. And I think these two players are really, really special players. You can see that they are what they're doing for Milan and Napoli, respectively. And I believe that they are, top players. I think with Moussa Diaby, I think he has a lot of raw talent, but I'm not so sure about his end product. The thing that makes Leao and Kvaratskhelia stand out is their end product. And I think that's what we need at Arsenal Football Club: players that can give you the end product consistently.
You know what? We also have to worry about Manchester City, because they're also heavily interested in both of these players. And when you say that's the kind of quality you're going for, I get it. I guess you're right, because this is what is it? Currently Serie A leader and former Serie A winner in Rafael Leao. So they're going to both cost around 100 million, if I'm not mistaken.
That is true, but as we have shown in the Mudryk deal, we are willing to spend up to 100 million. So, I mean, if we're willing to do that, then we might as well go for these top players.
You know what? Let me ask you this. We were just me and Thing were just speaking about the Mudryk deal, and we're basically saying we made the right decision walking away. Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with that. No, I can see what the club is trying to do when they say that they have a certain price and they won't go over that. But at the same time, I feel like, we're in a very unique position. It's not every day that you're 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League, especially when you haven't won it for so long. So if there was ever a time to go the extra mile, it was now. And I'm very disappointed that we didn't do that.
Are you disappointed we didn't get Mudryk over the line, and you think we should have paid whatever Chelsea paid?
Yeah, I think we should have paid whatever it takes, because I feel like he's a very special player, a Ballon d'Or level talent, in my opinion. And especially to lose him to our city rivals, I think it's not acceptable personally. I think, especially given the fact that we bid the exact same amount, the only thing we had to do was match their structure, and we refused to do that. And I think that's very, very poor from our side. And I honestly believe that if they could do it all over again, I think they would have. I think, given how things went down, I think they're very, very regretful over how things happened. And if they could change it, I think they would. I think they definitely regret not matching the bid.
Can I just ask this one question, right? Because I think everything that you said is pretty much spot on. But what makes you so sure that Mudryk would have succeeded in the Premier League? This is what I want to ask, because you just said that you wouldn't take Moussa Diaby because the Bundesliga being, a majorly flawed league compared to the Serie A and the Spanish league, but the Ukrainian league's even worse. So I don't quite understand myself why you're so sure that Mudryk would have been such a great player for Arsenal in the Premier League.
That's a good question. The reason why I think Mudryk is special is because of the fact that he has very, very unique skill set. It's very rare to see a player that can dribble the ball at that speed with that kind of close control. We've seen him play in the Champions League, so I know he can do it at the highest level. And he just has unique attributes. He can shoot with both feet. He's great in tight spaces. He's got pace, unlike I've ever seen, to be honest with you. I don't recall a player that fast before in the sport of football. And I think those traits are very, very unique. So especially given that we have Mikel Arteta as coach, we know Arteta's work with wingers. Leroy Sané, Raheem Sterling, they've all given him credit before he even came to Arsenal. And now that he's at Arsenal, you can see what he's doing with Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, even Reece Nelson to a certain extent. He's known for developing wingers. So I think Mudryk would have been in very, very good hands.
You know what? There's one more thing though, because he's going to do poor at Chelsea from the beginning, based on the fact that they're not set up well. People are now going to say we dodged the bullet or something. Do you feel like it's going to be he's going to get a fair? Do you think he's going to do well at Chelsea in the short?
Of course, we didn't dodge a bullet. The reality is we lost out on a great player, and no amount of revisionism is going to change that. Just because he's gone to Chelsea, I'm not going to change my opinion. I think it's Eden Hazard all over again, in the sense where we lost a top player to Chelsea, and it hurts. That's the simple fact of the reality. I don't think he's going to fail. I think Potter is a good coach, and if Chelsea are able to galvanize around the manager, I think they'll get somewhere in the next few years. But in terms of Mudryk as a player, I think Chelsea are very ambitious in the market. He's going to have better teammates next season. He's going to be playing with the likes of Nkunku, and it's going to be, I think the platform to succeed for him will be there.
You know what? That is fair. Let's now move on to Declan Rice. I know you guys. I don't know if you guys are split on Declan Rice, but everyone in the chat, let me know what you guys think about Declan Rice. I'm just getting some feedback. I think it's you, Mo. I'm just gonna mute you for a second. But everyone, let me know. People saying, "Wallahi, this guy knows ball." Yeah, man, my guy Mo knows ball, man. We all know ball, but yeah, I guess the person who's more eloquent is Mo, of course. People, we got 262 of you guys in the chat. Actually, 281 of you guys. Make sure you do hit that like button. The next topic we're gonna talk about is Declan Rice. Unmute yourselves, boys, because we got to talk about this. Declan Rice. Fabrizio Romano was told today that I'm told that nothing will be decided for now. Declan Rice is also becoming a player who will not be leaving in January as things stand. He will not be going anywhere in January, but Arsenal are still heavily going after him. Why are they telling us about a summer transfer target in the January window? I don't know. I know we heard rumors about other players in the past that we've tried to sign in the summer, in January. But right now, why are we hearing about Declan Rice? I feel like it's fishy. I thought we were generally going to try to make a bid for him in January and get him in now to help bolster this team in the title charge. But it doesn't seem like we're going to get him in January. So what do you guys
I
think?
know why. It's a
What do you guys-
distraction. We see this before, Miguel. We see this last January. It's a distraction, bro. What they're doing is they're doing their PR stunt like they normally do at Arsenal, because we're very good at that. And they're going, look, we're interested in Declan Rice. We can't get him till the summer. It's great, by the way. You know, I'll take Declan Rice at Arsenal in a heartbeat. Not sure for the amount of money that West Ham are asking for, but, you know, like Mo just said, we've reached that stage in our project now where we have to buy the top players. And if the top players are going to cost a lot of money. So, you know, I'm not against Declan Rice one bit whatsoever, but I can already see what the football club's doing. The football club is already setting up the fan base, or trying to get excited about Declan Rice in the summer, and ultimately forget that we are in a transfer window right now and we need players right now. And that's what I see happening. And I think the football club are kind of setting us up as fans to not be so disappointed if we don't get a player in this window. And I don't think it's inconceivable that we don't get a player in this window, because I don't see. I mean, obviously we've got this Moussa Diaby link, but I don't think that's a proper, like, Arsenal are real dead interested in this guy and it's going to get done this window. I don't see that. I don't see there really being any massively strong links to any players, really. So I already think that what's going to happen is we're going to end up with nobody in January. And the only way to cushion the blow is by saying, look, we're going to be looking at Declan Rice in the summer.
Surely we have to buy somebody in January, but let's just stay on the Declan Rice topic for a second. And Mo, if you want to touch on that, what do you think about the whole Declan Rice? I know you think he's a quality player, but like, what's going on with this? Is it PR? Is it fishy? What do you think it is?
I agree with the gentleman that spoke just now. I think it is a PR stunt. Don't get me wrong. I think that the interest is genuine. I do believe that we want Declan Rice. I've been told by multiple people close to him actually that we do want him and he's happy to come. But I think this is a PR stunt because there's no reason for this to come out right now, especially given the fact that Chelsea are also interested and we just lost a player to that same football club. So it seems a bit weird to me, but, you know, they've done this before. It's just a way to sort of like placate the fans a little bit and say, look, you know, we are in the business of signing top players. It might not be now, but in the summer, we're going to be signing top players. So I think it's just to calm the fan base down a little bit.
Yeah. People saying, can I join the stream? Bro, sorry, guys. This is just a small stream with just the three of us today. You definitely can call in when I do a bigger panel show. For now, I'll try to get to your comments as much as I can. Guys, what happened to some of these other players that we're after? Like, what happened to Yuri Pino? I thought that was a serious deal that we're actually after near the end of the window, but I guess Villarreal are just asking for ridiculous money or something. And then you also have links to us being linked to another player from Villarreal in what's his name again? Mo, you know who I'm talking about.
The right back?
No, not the right back. The Danjuma.
Danjuma, yes.
There's fake rumors about him being in London and potentially Arsenal could be the team that he's going after. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore, personally, guys. Do you think this is just distractions?
Yeah, we're not going to sign anybody, man. Like, honestly, I don't think we're going to sign anybody. I think we really wanted Mudryk. That didn't work out. And I don't think they have a plan B. All these other players we're being linked to, it's just paper talk. Because the players that Arsenal are trying to buy are like expensive players, ceiling raisers, and they're very difficult to find in January. So realistically speaking, I don't see anyone coming in this month. We'll just have to pray that nobody gets injured and that we get to the business end of the season without any major injuries. I think that's the focus now.
Wallahi, that's scary. That's scary because two of you guys are saying this. I am still of the belief we're going to get somebody, even though we didn't do it last year in January. I am starting to believe that you might be a little bit right, and I'm scared of that. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking we're going to get somebody. But like when I see links to like Nicola Violi, I'm like, what does this have to do with us? Like, I get he might be a quality player from Roma, but like, what what are we doing with the 23-year-old? This has to be one of those fake rumors, don't you guys think?
Definitely. We get links to so many players in every single transfer window. Not every single one of them is going to be true. I mean, we were saying about this Jeremy Pino, and you could go as far back as to what's that guy's name? Plays midfield for Lyon.
Bruno Guimaraes?
No, not Guimaraes. Yeah, Hussam Aouar. You know, I think if these links to these players in particular were true, then there would be Arsenal players by now. And, you know, the fact that we haven't gone in for any of these players since kind of just shows you that it is all, you know, paper talk and that. And I feel the same way about this Nicolo Zaniolo from Roma, you know, like Mo was saying, we're shopping in a different window now, completely different window. And, you know, unless we're going to be smart with our business, which I don't see Arsenal doing right now, then we're going to have to stump up the big bucks for the big players. You know, there's no point in buying this Nicolo's, you know, he's not going to massively, drastically improve our midfield. And that's what we need. We need players now who can, you know, if they're long-term targets, for example, who can come in and not only do a job for Arsenal, but also push the players that we've got currently starting in our first 11 for a starting place to keep the competition for places high. If you keep bringing in these young players, like look at Lokonga, for example, right? We brought him in for a couple of £1 million or £20 million, whatever it is. He don't look like getting anywhere near the starting 11. You know, Thomas Partey isn't, you know, starting at the weekend and thinking, oh my God, if I have a bad performance today, Lokonga's going to come in and, you know, take my spot. That's where you can start to see like teams become stale, I suppose. You know, you got to keep freshening it up with competition.
You know what? I know you both got to go soon, so I'm just gonna end this off with this part here. Mo, do you think there's any truth to this rumor here before we move on?
No, actually, it's funny because I think the fact that we turned down Leandro Trossard shows me that we have zero intention of signing anyone in this window, because this is a player who, I mean, I personally don't even want him, but he's a Premier League proven player. He's available on a very, very cheap transfer after he had a falling out with Brighton, right? And this is a player that can help us right now, but they don't want to do it, which leads me to believe that they only want to sign top players. So, and we know that's not going to happen in January.
Yeah, from this list, you probably would only get this guy here, or
try to pronounce that, Igal.
I can't. I physically can't.
Khvicha Kvaratskhelia.
Kvaratskhelia. That's my best goal. Fernando Torres, I don't think it's gonna happen. Rafinha costs too much. Matomo's not gonna move. He just came. Leandro Trossard, you just made your point, and then yeah, you guys might be right, but at this moment in time, I'm still hopeful that we're gonna get somebody in. Today's Moussa Diaby. Tomorrow is gonna be Fernando Torres. Honestly, Fernando Torres is not of the caliber and level of what we need. You're 100% right. We need to stay away from him personally. And going into the United game, you guys give me your thoughts on the United game quickly. You think we're going to beat United before we go?
I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a very close game. Hopefully we get a helping hand tonight. Hopefully Crystal Palace and Patrick Vieira can do us a favour and at least get Casemiro another booking, because then he'll miss the game. But let's be real with it. United are playing very well at the moment, very, very well. However, the only flaw that I see with Manchester United is, apart from Marcus Rashford, I don't see where they're getting their goals from. So I feel that if we can stop Marcus Rashford, then we can stop Manchester United, and then we can kind of play our game. But I do see us winning that game purely and simply because it's at the Emirates. We're going to want to get a little bit of revenge as well. You know, we've got our crowd behind us as well. We're playing really good football as well at the moment. And I just don't see how Manchester United can beat us at this moment in time. I'm saying 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay, Mohamed. Anyways, Brandon, big up for joining us, bro. Appreciate it. Mohamed, what are you saying? What is your prediction for that game?
I disagree with Brandon. Not because we won't win, but it's not going to be close. I don't think it's going to be close at all. I think it's going to be a whitewash, 3 or 4-0.
Whoo, 3 or 4-0. Love to see it. Love to see it. And you got anything else you got to talk about before we go? Because I was gonna end off the video by talking about Cedric and Ben White and Zinchenko's mentality. Unless you want to speak on any of those topics,
I was just gonna ask what your prediction was for the game on Sunday, bro.
bro. If I go to the game, we're winning 3-1.
Come on.
Because I'm not gonna lie. Actually, not 3-1. It's gonna be 0 from their end. They're not scoring. It's gonna be 2-0 or 3-0. Because at this moment in time, defensively, we are looking solid. Ramsdale standing on his head. And as Manchester United are gaining all this confidence against all these other small teams, they've not faced a juggernaut yet. They've not faced Arsenal with full squad. They've not faced Arsenal with
Facts.
They keep talking about Casemiro, this best center back in Martin is this, Rashford's the best winger, this, all of these things that they keep talking about, but they don't realize Mikel Arteta learns from his mistakes. He learns from little things. You notice the little tweaks that he does from game to game, and they think it's going to be the same ball game when they face us at the Emirates. No, it's not. It's going to be. I expect a similar to performance to how they're performing against Man City from them, but from our end, they're going to see another level to what they face against Man City. And that's why I think they're going to be shell-shocked when they see Martinelli and Saka running rings around their fullbacks, when they see a midfield of Thomas Partey, Odegaard, and Xhaka bossing the game and them not having any touches on the ball. And when they do get the ball, they're going to try to start to be direct and be quick. But with Saliba and Gabriel being two of the fastest center back pairing in the league, and also having Ben White as cover, we don't have anything to worry about at home. And they haven't been to the Emirates when it's rocking. Last year it was rocking, but it's going to be rocking again this time. And Granit Xhaka has something for them because he always scores. So yeah, minimum 1 goal from us always, because Granit Xhaka is going to score.
Love it, bro. Love the sound of that.
Anyways, I'm gonna let you go. You have a good one, Mohamed. Thank you for coming on. Always love it when you join us. You know what I mean? And pick up the Brandon.
Peace out, bro. Love and respect. Peace.
Peace out. People, if you guys want to jump on, I can put out the link quickly for some of you guys who want to jump on. Say a 1-2 before we go. I'll leave it for a couple of minutes. Make sure you do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Give you guys all the latest updates on Arsenal transfer news. Diaby deal's done? ? No, it's not done. We're just talking about Diaby. The deal is on in the sense that the deal is being worked on. The deal is not done. The deal is worked on at this moment in time. I like the fact that we stare every game so quickly. That is amazing. Yeah, it's really good that we start the game so quickly. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna have a special guest on Friday. I'm gonna have Saeed. Yes, Saeed, the same gentleman who's on the Big Six, Saeed, my Somali brother, Manchester United fan. He's going to be on Friday at 4 o'clock. We're going to have Saeed on. So 4 o'clock stream. I hope you guys enjoy those early streams like right now. Hope you guys enjoy them. But yeah. Oh, M's back. What are you saying?
Yo, bro, what you saying?
Chilling, bro. Talk to me. What are you saying?
Bro, I'm worried, innit? We need transfers and we need them quickly, bro. I can't
Same question as everyone else. Moussa Diaby or nobody? You taking it?
Yes.
Okay. How much you willing to spend? I say 88. If I tell you 60 million, you say yes. If I say 88 million?
Yeah. I'd pay 88 million.
Okay,
Bro,
everyone in the chat right now. Moussa Diaby to Arsenal for 88 million. Yes or no? I want to see yeses and nos in the chat. Yeses and nos. People in the chat, I'll also send you the link if you guys want to jump on. But yeah, that's going to be a big stream. I'm going to Saeed streamed yesterday with Lewis. Yeah, man, Saeed's been going everywhere. He's a busy guy. But yeah, he's going to be coming on at 4 o'clock on Friday, and then not at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I'm going to also have a combined 11 video with Faz, me, and what's his name, Kaz. But yo, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the reason why I'd pay that 88 million is because Bayern Leverkusen don't want to sell mid-January. But if we offer them that much money, they'd probably take it. I think he's a good player as well. He'd be a good option on that right hand side. That's where he plays. And we could give Saka a rest where we could have depth in that position. because although on the left wing Martinelli plays there, if Martinelli was to get injured, we have ESR as well, so we'd have good depth in the wide positions.
You know what? At this moment in time, it doesn't seem like Arsenal is going to buy a midfielder this window.
Yeah, that's. Elneny wasn't on the bench for Tottenham. I don't know why.
We know why. He's not. He's injured or not feeling well.
Bro, if he's injured, then we need to sign someone because
No, it's not that he's injured. He was not. Well, yeah, he picked up a knee injury in training.
yeah. So clearly, we need to sign someone because
I didn't know Mohamed Elneny picked up a knee injury. He picked up a knee injury in training before the North London derby. Let me show you. This tweet came. This came out yesterday. So Mohamed Elneny is also being looked at to be going on sale potentially. He could go on sale soon. So we'll see. Would you sell Mohamed Elneny if it means you're bringing in somebody this window?
if we're bringing somebody, then yes. If we're not, then I wouldn't sell him.
I'm shocked. I didn't know he picked up a knee injury. I didn't know Mohamed Elneny picked up a knee injury.
I was shocked because our bench is already weak. And then I saw Elneny wasn't on the bench, and I was like, I pray none of our midfielders get injured, man. Because if we're having to bring on Lakonga, then yeah.
Let me ask you this: who has a stronger bench, Arsenal or Man United?
Man United for sure.
You think so?
Yeah.
Let me show you something. This is our squad depth in comparison to Manchester United's, right? So when you look at Arsenal squad depth in comparison to Manchester United's, you find something quite interesting. Iga, have you watched Jasper Lundstrom at all? I've seen highlights. I haven't really watched them. I've watched a couple games on Leverkusen. I haven't really seen too much on him, honestly. He looks like a quality player, but the only reason why I remember being linked to him, we were linked to him in the summer. So yeah, we have Ramsdale and Turner. We have Gabriel, White, Saliba, Zinchenko, Tierney, Tomiyasu. Defensively, we look solid. Midfield, we keep saying we're weak in midfield, but then let me show you something. Man United's midfield. Look at that. They have Bruno Casemiro, Ericsson, and then they have Scott McTominay and Fred, and that's it. They only have 5 midfielders. The whole team is literally just 5 midfielders.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you've got a point. It's probably just as bad.
And look at their attack. Their attack is worse than ours. At least we have Eddie Nketiah and friggin' Emil Smith-Rowe.
Yeah, to be fair, we have injuries to Jesus and Reece Nelson, so yeah, I get it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everyone keeps talking about Arsenal's bad. Like Man United, we're about to face them. They have 11 defenders, bro. They have 11 defenders, and let's be honest, only like 5 of them are any good.
But wouldn't you say a Lindelof or a Maguire? Actually, not Maguire, but a Lindelof.
Bro, Maguire and Lindelof are the same level as Holding and Cedric.
No, I think Lindelof's better than Holding, to be honest.
No, it's the same level.
But the thing is, I think if one of our centre backs got injured, we'd just move Ben White to centre back. I don't think Holding would even stand a chance in getting in the starting level.
You know what? Man City have the best depth, but when it comes down to it, depth and all these things, it is what it is. We got our guy Mohamed in the house. Thank you for joining us, bro. Have a good one, okay?
Okay.
Big up. And then the final caller of the night, we got my guy Mohamed. Mohamed, how are you doing? Mohamed, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked everyone today. You have a choice to sign Moussa Diaby or absolutely nobody. What are you going to do?
Hi, Gal. Good evening. Of course, Moussa Diaby is top player. He's very good, but he's unrealistic deal in this window. The news from Sky that Arsenal are interested, okay, but the reality is that Bayer Leverkusen doesn't want to sell their star in mid-season. So if you ask me, I'm angry. I'm frustrated by this board, by Edu, for not backing this team, for not backing Arteta, for not reinforcing our team. It's not every year that we will be on top of the league. We will be 8 points clear of Man City in the middle of the season, in the middle of the transfer window. if you heard the comments of Balkin, the chief executive of Shakhtar, to numerous English outlets, when I heard his interview, I realized and make sure even more that Edu failed massively in this deal, massively. First of all, by contacting the player before Shakhtar. So Shakhtar was very angry of Arsenal, so they were strict in negotiations. Balkin said this. Second, by this slow process in negotiation from December to mid January, by this process that bidding, first bid, it was sure that it will be rejected. Then after a week, second bid. Then third bid, it was good, but not agreeing the add-ons package reality to be a realistic add-ons package with Shakhtar is also a big failure. Chelsea in 9 hours, they clinched the deal in 9 hours. Also, important point, it appeared that the player was not pressing Shakhtar to leave for Arsenal. And Balkin says Mudryk didn't talk with us about his move, or he wasn't pressing us that he wants to move out and he wants to move to Arsenal. It was just Arsenal talking to him, Arsenal officials talking to him daily. So from all these informations, Edu failed massively.
Let me stop you 1 second. I agree with you that based off what they've said, it paints Arsenal in a very bad light. But are you believing everything Shakhtar Donetsk are saying? Because they don't have any financial benefit to say anything positive about Arsenal. They have a financial benefit based on the deal that they've already done with Chelsea to massage their ego and say everything they did was perfect and everything Arsenal did was terrible. So if you believe everything that they are saying, my friend, I'm sorry, I don't believe it's 100% genuine. I believe there's some fabrications in the story. I believe that there's some false information being fed to us to make Chelsea look like a better situation because they paid ridiculous amounts of money for Shakhtar to player, and they're going to reward Shakhtar with a game where they play an international friendly. Plus, they also are giving the player triple his wages. Triple. Arsenal were only going to give him around 45K. They are giving him almost 100.
I will correct you, my friend. I will correct you about some points. First of all, the trusted press outlets today in England said that Mudryk will earn 97 K per week, 10,000 more than Arsenal. 10, just 10. This is 1 point, to be clear. Second point, our final bid to Shakhtar is the same as Chelsea, 70 plus 3, 70 plus 3. And Balkin said this. It was about the package add-ons, if it's realistic to be achieved or not. This small detail is very important in deals, but this detail, failing to close this, it's a failure. Chelsea flew to and met with Shakhtar officials during all day, 9 hours, 10 hours consecutively, and they closed the deal. Why Edu didn't do this? Why he didn't travel for 9 hours, 10 hours, 11 hours, sit with them, close the deal? So, and even after Mudryk failure, we are not moving. We are stalling. We are stalling now. Time is running. We need signing. Mikel is doing a miracle with this team. We have just 11 players now, or 12 players. And we are top of the league, 8 points. If we in this great golden situation will not spend, will not back this team to win this title after 18 years, when we will spend? If you look at our history in the last 3 or 4 winter transfer window, we didn't bring any player in winter. It's a failure. It's a big failure. I don't have agenda against Edu.
I think everyone agrees with you. Everyone agrees with you. If we don't bring in anybody this window, it is a failure. But in the same sense, we understand how the club operates. The club operates in this manner, and they don't change. They don't want to be held to ransom. They don't want to do anything. And Mo, I respect what you're saying. And a lot of people are saying words of wisdom. You're speaking facts. But at the same time, I can't dispute some of the things you're saying. But I feel like the information that's coming out from different parties, which one's the reality? Maybe the Arsenal PR is coming out from the Arsenal camp and we can't trust everything they're saying. But at the same time, some of the things that are coming out, like Shakhtar and Arsenal's bid were the exact same for just the thing. The difference was this and that. No, that's bullshit, because Chelsea paid minimum 5 million more for the full deal. On top of that,
I'll tell you again, they paid more commission to the agent. They paid more commission to the agent, and they paid more to the player, and the add-ons package were more realistic to achieve. This is the difference.
More upfront.
Okay, I agree. Okay.
So 10 million more upfront, more to the player, more to the agent. Plus, they're giving them agreements to do games with them.
But it's our top priority, Igal. This player was our top priority since summer, and we keep negotiating for a month, and we failed.
Brother, they disrespected us in the sense that if I tell you today, this, for example, I'm selling you a car. We have negotiated for 6 months on this car. Okay. The final day, when you say to me, okay, finally, I agree. You want 100, you want 100, you want 10,000. I'll give you 9,900, and I'll give you 9,900. There you go. 100. Just let me have that 100 so I can put a gas when I go. And then the last day, somebody else, you call them, you say, oh, I know now somebody wants to buy now somebody wants to pay 10K. Are you going to pay that extra, or are you going to walk away because they are now messing with you?
I think Igal,
because they're messing with us.
I get what you talk, but for me, just fighting with I analyze the situation as Arsenal was fighting in the player side, not in Shakhtar side. Any deal struck first, okay, you can make contact and see about the players and gather information and talk to his agents. It's normal. But the main point is to agree a deal with his club. So even the player, the surprise, was not pressuring Shakhtar to leave and to leave for Arsenal. No. He said the Balkan, the chief, he was respectful, he was training, he didn't talk to us about leaving to any club. He just left the situation for us to deal with. So the player was not fighting to join us in the end. And all Arsenal fans were illusioned that this player only want Arsenal. And it appears to be the truth that it not was the situation. So we failed dealing with this deal. Now the news that are coming from some English outlets is that Arsenal will not hurry in spending, and Arsenal are waiting for what? 12 days remaining to the closure of the transfer window. Are waiting for what? We can't bear any injury for any of our 11 starts. Now, we can bear an injury to Saka or to Miss Martinelli or to Miss Partey. So this deal, for me, we must change our strategy. That means identifying our targets first. Second, when to move to this target. Third, how to move and how to act quickly to wrap up this target, because we are facing battles now. Chelsea with the money, United with the big money, and Newcastle now came under the big money, not to mention City, not to mention other opponents. So we must be decisive.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you care about the quality of the player, or you just want a player? Because that is a
No,
big.
quality.
You care about the quality.
Yes, of course. Of course, any player who will come to Arsenal needs to be top quality. And there are many top players on the market. Even in the summer, Igal, in the transfer summer, we failed. Okay, we got Jesus and Zinchenko. It was not enough. We didn't sign number 6 with Partey. We didn't sign another winger. And we were tracking Mudryk in the summer. And Shakhtar told us that he will cost 40 to 45 million euro in the summer. And Arsenal said, no, this is a high number, a high price. So we didn't get Mudryk. We didn't get any winger.
We made a mistake. We made a mistake not getting him when he was cheaper. He ended up doing better. He cost more. I agree with you there. One thing I will say is, though, the board have been getting things right ever since the Pepe deal. And this is where I back them. Because since the Pepe deal, they haven't made many mistakes.
Yes, I agree.
You can say potentially Lokonga's the only mistake. Vlahovic, we walked away, we found a better deal. We walked away from Bundia and these guys. We found Odegaard. He's one of the best players in the Premier League right now. At this moment in time, the issue is if we walk away from this deal, we don't win the Premier League. We sacrifice the Premier League for our own well-being. In the future, we might get a better player, but I'm going to be very disappointed if we don't come out of this.
I agree.
Player. Here's the difference, though.
I agree with you, Igal. I agree with you about the past. I give all the credit to the board, to Edu, of course to Mykhaylo. For me, I trusted Mykhaylo from the first day, and I was every show in many channels. I was fighting that Mykhaylo will do the miracles. Mykhaylo will build a new team. Mykhaylo, when all Arsenal fans were calling Mykhaylo out, I said, no, this coach is very good.
But look at this. This is what I mean. When we spend money, we spend it nicely now. We don't do what we did with Pepe. So in this situation, I am confident that if we find the player that we feel is good enough to be in the system and has the quality to do it for us in the long term, we're going to sign them. If we don't see that quality, we're going to sign another player from another position.
Yes, but Igal, my point here, I'm not talking about the past 2 years. I agree with you. I'm talking about this season. This season is unique. It's a golden chance. Not every season Arsenal will start massively like this in the league. And we are now top of the league, 8 points clear of this city. This situation will not happen every year. So Edu, the board must deliver. We must have plan A, plan B, plan C. Mudryk, plan A. Okay. Failed. Plan B. Where is plan B? Where is plan C? Time is running. Now every day passes without any news that Arsenal are close to signing a player or another. For me, I can't imagine Saka and Martinelli to be burned out this season. They can't play every minute, in every match, in every competition. We will burn them out. So we need another top winger with them. At least one player, at least in the minimum. We were hoping that before the window opens, Igal, that we sign 2 players, 1 winger and 1 midfielder. Now Elneny is injured. Imagine if Partey is suspended or injured. Who will play in number 6? Tell me. Lukanga is out of the picture.
Xhaka.
So we are not delivering. At least two signing. We are not dreaming that we want 3 players for like Chelsea. No, just 2 players. Okay, 1 top player. Our aim was Mudryk. We failed. What's plan B? What's plan B? Edu must deliver. I see his process is very slow in thinking, in moving, in identifying certain targets, in clinching this opportunity. Loan deals. Loan deals.
Mohamed, the reality is we don't know who the other targets are. We don't know if Moussa Diaby is even a serious target. At this moment in time, all we know is they've made contact with Leverkusen. We
Yep,
know that
yes.
they've made contact with West Ham. We know that they've made contact with these teams, but we don't know if it's actually going to get done.
Yes,
What we do
but
know-
today I watched trusted press sources in Germany, Bild and other, and they said clearly that it's a very difficult deal because Bayer Leverkusen will not sell their star in January.
It's true.
So why we are looking to these impossible deals? Why? Move quickly, act firmly, back this team. There are many options, but you need to move fast. You need to act to change this slow process, identifying targets, moving for them, wrapping up the deals, because now in this winter and the next summer you will see the fight. Every player will be like a war between the top teams in England. You have City, you have United, you have Newcastle, you have Chelsea, you have us, you have Spurs, you have many others will catch you, will go for this player and for this. So Arsenal have a plan. I respect Arsenal plan, but
Zaha's not
just
leaving, by the way.
move quickly, not slowly.
Zaha's not leaving, by the way, people. I heard officially Zaha is not going anywhere. That is the rumors. That is what I heard. He's not going anywhere. Anyways, I'm gonna have to wrap this up, Mohamed. Honestly, really do appreciate you coming on. You always liven up the show. Big up to every single one of you guys who are watching right now. Make sure you do hit a like button on your way out if you haven't already hit that like button. I'm sorry I couldn't read all your comments. Today was a very interactive show. I'm gonna do one of the shows by myself over the next couple of days. So tomorrow, Vibes from the Six is back. We're gonna go again. We're gonna do all the Premier League predictions for all the games. I'm gonna have Saeed on doing a Premier League prediction preview for the Manchester United Arsenal game 1-on-1 versus him on Friday. And on Friday, once again, there's going to be another show, which is going to be the Combined 11 show at 8 o'clock, where we debate the Combined 11 between Arsenal and Manchester United. Now, go check out Dabs' channel, Never a Foul, after this show. And have a great day. Mohamed, love to have you on. Big up everyone in the chat and have a good one.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.